I call my other friends, they're like, if this were to happen to anyone, like it would happen to you. The dating pool is very small, apparently, which is why I go for aliens.
Boy, did I miss you. Hey guys, it's Andrea Gunning.
And I'm Ben Fetterman.
Back with more Dating Diaries, questions and confessions.
Dre, it has been months, and I can't believe we haven't even spoken in all this time. It's crazy.
That's not true. We talk like multiple times a day.
I know, all the time. But it has been a while since this microphone has been in front of my face.
I know, I've missed it. But we've been busy, actually, working hard, collecting stories, talking to our audience. You guys have written in, you've reached out on social media, and we've been dedicating time to talking, meeting with all of you. And this season I'm so excited about because there's some great stories. Love, heartbreak, everything in between.
Even today, we got some stories ripe for reality TV.
And Forensic Files or X-Files?
I don't know. I think we need to get to some stories so you guys can weigh in. Who we got?
Joe has been out there and has had his share of serious relationships. He is ready to find the one. His heart is open, but his living situation has not made it easy.
I'm in like a unique situation, kind of. Nantucket is hard because it's so like insular, I guess. It's an island, you know? So like the dating pool isn't really that big, especially when you get into your 40s. It's like not much left out there, so to speak. My last two relationships were with girls off island. It was really tough. It's like an hour-long boat ride, and I'd always be like to the girls, like, if it was an hour-long car ride, you wouldn't care, but just because it's in a boat, it makes it weird. You just had to hit like the fast-forward button on relationships a lot of times, you know, or be like, all right, you know, like, are we in this for the long haul and figuring it out, or are we gonna break up, kind of thing like that.
Joe was frustrated. What was it going to take to have his happy ending? Where is she?
So at the very beginning of quarantine, right, I'm like holed up in my house, and I randomly found that show, 90 Day Fiance. And I had this friend, this girl that I'm really good friends with, and she'd always kind of been like, Joe, you should get yourself a 90 Day Fiance. And I always thought it was like weird and transactional with the way she would say it. She'd be like, go get yourself one. I'd be like, it doesn't work like that, you know? During quarantine, I was binging that show. And the first two seasons, there's these really cool girls from Colombia. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to find a girl in Colombia.
90 Day Fiance is a reality television show. One member of each couple is from a foreign country. That person comes to the US on a special visa designated for engaged couples. They have 90 days to get married or go home. It's intense. But nothing else is working for Joe, so
Colombia is known for like beautiful women, but it's also like they're all about family and like having fun and like enjoying life. So I went on a website called Colombian Cupid, and I just started looking for girls, and I found one. So it was good. And yeah, we just kind of hit it off and just kept messaging each other back and forth. We started a video chat. Everything was great. She was just like really cute. She had like a cute little photo on that website. The thing I really liked is that she would just reply to my messages. I would do the thing where I would send her a message, you know, and then I'd be like watching TV or whatever. I'd be like, all right, I'm not going to check until like the commercial break or whatever, you know, or like whatever, you know, parameter I set up. And every time I'd go back, I'd be like, oh, she responded.
it might seem like a low bar, but Joe was looking for simple communication and respect. He was smitten enough to take a trip to Colombia. Joe even told his mom, who was fine with his romantic adventure. But then a friend of hers weighed in with a warning.
He's like, listen, I'm not going to tell you not to go down there, but I'm going to tell you it's sketchy. You need to understand that there's legitimate businesses that are just designed to find foreign men to have them come down and kidnap them and to like, you know, extort them and whatever.
So now he's wondering.
So like when he said that to me too, like my whole like relationship like flashed before my eyes, and I like just thought about everything, and I was like, I let her pick the Airbnb. I told her my flight number, like all this stuff, like all my friends, like, you know, like shit, like I don't know if I did the right thing, whatever. But I'm a very trustworthy person, and I'm also consider myself like a good judge of character. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm going with my heart. I did it. And I went down there and met her. It was so nerve-wracking. It's not even funny. Like I was shitting my pants the whole entire time.
He took a risk for love.
So I landed in Medellin. I also was like so hot and sweating. I had to like walk up, they like shot my temperature. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like fail my temperature test because I'm like so nervous. But passed that, got through immigrations, got through customs. And she's like, yeah, I can't come in the airport because of COVID. So you're just gonna have to meet me at the exit. And I'm like, the exit? There's fucking 10 exits. You know, like which exit? And she's like, there's only one exit for, you know, international arrivals. Like, just relax. So then she had messaged me. She was like, hey, just so you know, I'm not right at the door. I'm across the street because right at the door is really busy. So I was just like walking along and I got to the door and I looked across the street and I was like, holy shit, there she is. It's like so psyched. Still a little bit nervous, but psyched. So then I started walking straight towards her, but I was just like looking at her and like I almost got hit by a car because I looked to my left and there's like a car. I was like, ooh. And then I saw her and we just hugged and kissed and I was like, taxi?
I can see this in slow motion. The cars, the sweat rolling down his cheek. It's so romantic. But there's just one teensy weensy problem.
You know, I don't speak Spanish and she doesn't speak English. No, it's just straight Google Translate.
Paging Rosetta Stone. Paging Rosetta Stone. But you know what? It didn't really matter. They were communicating just fine.
So then we would start to say, take care of to each other, which is like a way of saying I love you, but it's like I want you basically, I think. So then we started to say take care of to each other a bunch. And so I was like, should I say take care or te amo? And she's like, take care of. I was like, all right, fine. I'll say take care of. And then after a while, she's like, no, we should start saying te amo to each other. So we like stepped it up from take care of to te amo, like a really long time ago.
Te amo. I love you.
I plan on going back down. And then she's hopefully going to come up here in like, you know, June or July. I'm not greener than Nantucket in January. She's not like digging for a green card or like anything like that. Like to get her to come to America is going to take a little convincing, you know? I mean, I want to put a ring on it. I'd like to marry her. She's like a very, very kind, warm-hearted, honest person.
She even took him to meet her relatives.
So I met two of her aunts. I met her cousin and I met her cousin's daughter. So I met like, you know, a good amount of her family.
This girl checked all of the boxes, except maybe geography.
I was like, I just need these three qualities from a girl and I'll be good to go. And it was like smart, funny, and attractive. She's funny. She can like, she busts my balls like constantly. And like, she's always making jokes and she's very independent and doesn't take shit from anybody and is like very attractive too.
2020, the worst year ever? It wasn't for Joe.
Like, I've been so happy since April, you know, like I've had a really atypical 2020, I guess, compared to everybody else, if that's the right word.
Yeah. Like you found love in the most like quarantine of ways, you know?
Yeah.
Would you have even considered looking to Colombia for love if it weren't for a global pandemic?
No, I don't know. I don't know if I would have seen that show or like looked for it.
I mean, I'll just start with this. I wouldn't want to base my love life off a mediocre reality TV series that's run for 14 seasons or whatever the hell it's run for.
Joe was resistant. He had friends shoving 90 Day Fiancé down his throat.
He sounded pretty open to it.
This was after a ton of convincing from his friends. The man lives on an island. There's a very specific population. He'd been living there his whole life. Everybody knows everybody. The man ran out of dating options on Nantucket. And then he goes to look on the mainland, and he can't find a girl that can muster the ferry for an hour.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So he says, you know, driving an hour, no big deal. But, you know, a 10-minute ride to the ferry and then an hour ferry ride, that's a deal breaker. I don't really get that. I feel like the ferry is a very, like, romantic, head to Nantucket for the weekend, I'm going to stay with my boyfriend. Like, that seems like a...
The ferry is eliminating anyone that has motion sickness issues.
There are medications for this.
That person would have to prepare for Dramamine every time before the date. And then they're like bloated by the time they get to Joe. And it's also eliminating anyone that doesn't like the smell of gasoline. I mean, it's a commuter ferry.
It's a barge. Let's call it a barge.
No, I've done this ferry hungover. Thank God there's a bar.
Do they make him mean bloody?
I don't think I've ever done the bloody. I've had like the whale's tail pale ale.
That feels less shameful.
So I feel like it was a very easy decision for Joe to go Colombia. As soon as he was like, all right, I'm going to set my sights anywhere, he knew he wanted to do Colombia. The women in Colombia are drop dead gorgeous.
It's not a poor choice. I mean, one, the women, two, the weather, three, the beaches. Like, he's setting himself up for a nice future.
So he like swipes with a bunch of people, and then he starts engaging in conversation with the one girl that really just responds to his messages. I've heard this a lot from guys that I've talked to. They're like, yeah, she just got back to me.
It's the small things in life, like a response.
So many girls are overthinking it, and here they're just looking for someone just to respond to their hi. So they talked for months and months and months before he decided to book a trip and go and visit her for the first time. It was December. It's a very easy decision who's going where. She's not coming to Nantucket in December.
Which, in these terms, I mean, that is a huge commitment. In a pandemic, you're going to fly to a foreign country. It
was a risk on a lot of levels. But he seems like he was open about this whole relationship dynamic to everyone in his life. I know a ton of people that would pull a move like this and be just so shady about it. Because think about it. Everyone just assumes that this dynamic, like someone's hunting for a green card. There's a lot of judgment around this dynamic. So he's got like this blissful excitement about going and seeing her. He's developed this relationship online with her. He's feeling very safe, very trusting. And then his family friend is like a voice of reason of, you know, there's literally criminal syndicates that are hunting for people like Joe.
He got the cautionary tale.
There are literally crime syndicates that will catfish men on these dating apps, get them to come from the United States. They have cash on them because they're traveling. They take them to an Airbnb or a hotel, rob them, maybe kill them, sell their organs on the black market. You just don't know what you're getting into. And he had to confront all of those concerns before traveling. And he took the risk anyway, because he just felt it in his gut. Like they had FaceTimed. They've been FaceTiming for months.
But you still don't know who this woman is. Like, she could be part of the syndicate.
So Joe doesn't take any of the advice that he's been given and goes with his gut. What's so crazy is that they have to talk into an app to communicate.
On every date, they have a third wheel, which is Google Translate.
Like they're at dinner and they're talking into a phone.
And like passing the phone across the table. And I don't think Google Translate has a mode that says like romantic seductive mode. Like it's just spitting out generic Alexa voices.
Like, I'm really in the mood right now. There's no way to do it. Like there's no like, you look so sexy. Like I think that's as much as it, I think that's what it is.
This enchilada is delicious. It's got to be so challenging, but I think it's a theme on this show that we see a lot is love finds a way to persist.
100%. I did ask him. I'm like how do you you're like, yeah, how do you ask for consent? Like, do you have to talk into your phone to ask for consent? I guess you can navigate those conversations without verbalizing what you need, but you're not going to talk into your phone and ask her if she's okay with anal. Like, you're not going to do that.
Google Translate says error. Cannot translate.
It's like, are you okay with butt stuff? Yeah, you can't ask that into your phone. You're gonna have to feel that one out.
My name is Claire. I am from Iowa City. I'm 22 years old. I'm in my final semester of grad school. I'm getting my master's of finance.
Claire is single and open to meeting new people.
So a little bit of dating apps, a little bit of meeting people in person, a little bit of everything. I meet this guy on Hinge and he said he was just like visiting Iowa. I have my own private plane. We just stopped here for the evening.
What was on his profile?
I remembered that he had a picture with a plane. He had a picture of like him and a dog and then just a like selfie of him.
She was interested enough to just hang out for the night.
So I get off work and he's like, okay, I'm on my way. And the town he was staying in was about an hour or so away. And it took him like 30 minutes to get to my house, which was like a little weird, but I was like, whatever. And so he like comes in, we're hanging out. He was a little weird, but I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, well, I met this guy on Hinge.
It's a crapshoot, right? At least she wasn't catfished.
It's like, what really can I expect? It's like the next morning and I was like, so like, how'd you get here? Like, it's time for you to go home. I need to go to work. And he was like, I had a friend drop me off.
No transportation? No way to get back to your private plane?
I was like, what? Okay, whatever. You need to get out of my house. Like, I need to go to work. You're not staying here. Can you call an Uber? And he was like, I don't have Uber. So I was like, whatever. I'll call him an Uber.
Who doesn't have Uber? Better yet, who has a private plane and doesn't have Uber? This guy.
The whole Uber ride should have taken about an hour. I get a notification about 20 minutes into the ride saying like, your trip has been completed. So I called the Uber and I was like, what, where did you drop him off at? Because they should still be riding for another 40 minutes. And the Uber was like, oh, he just had me drop him off in like a random cornfield right off one of the exits on the interstate. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I'll refund you for like half the charge.
And then later, she could barely remember it.
Later that day, I like couldn't remember anything that happened the night before. What did I do when I got off work? Did I hang out with someone? Like, I didn't remember any of this. And later that day, there was like a UFO spotting in Iowa.
A man with a private aircraft, no car, who was dropped off in a cornfield. And the whole experience is fuzzy now?
Exactly. I was like, this is this weird dude that I met on Hinge that like got dropped off in a cornfield. I literally couldn't remember it for the whole year and a half until I saw he posted a Snapchat story. I was like calling all my friends. I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever. Like, what is going on? So I like slid up on his story and I was like, dude, like, are you an alien? And it said pending. He had unadded me after I viewed his story. I looked through my phone. I was like, do I have this guy's number maybe? Like, I was like determined to find this guy. Like, couldn't find anything anywhere. I tried to like go back into my Hinge account, but I full on deleted it. He wasn't in like my current matches. Like, tried to find him on Instagram, had no Instagram account. By the time I went to like go try to like look at his story again to screenshot, it was gone.
Claire just couldn't get any information on this guy.
Why is this coming back to me all now a year and a half later? Why did he post this story? I haven't seen anything from this guy. It was like the weirdest like euphoric feeling when I like saw his Snapchat story and like everything was started coming back to me.
In case you were wondering, because I was wondering, yes, they did.
It was very weird. Like, I remember like the whole time I was like, this is probably like the weirdest sexual experience I've ever had. Everything was like so premeditated. It was like, okay, we're doing this. And now it's like, and now we do this. And now we do this. It seems like he like had every single move planned out. I literally cannot find him anywhere. He said that he worked for just some random like distributing company in LA, but he had a private plane that he just flew around the country for fun. That's why he was in town, is he was just like flying his private plane across the country. And I'm like, by private plane, do you mean UFO or like what's the deal?
Claire decided to consult an expert.
So I called one of my friends who worked for NASA. He's like getting his PhD in aerospace engineering at UPenn, like super smart guy, like knows all about space. So I call him and I'm like, yo, dude, are aliens real? I need to know. And he was like, yeah, like we think that they're real. Most people that work anything to do in like aerospace engineering or know anything about space or whatever, he's like, everyone that I've ever encountered in like my space type career are pretty much like, yeah, aliens are real. I call my other friends, they're like, if this were to happen to anyone, like it would happen to you. The dating pool is very small, apparently, which is why I go for aliens.
I'm not sure if I've dated an actual alien, but I've certainly dated some guys that are out there.
I went on a date last night and it was fine, but typically like my thing is I always like end up having feelings for my guy friends. I'll get really close with a guy friend and then have feelings for him and then like get rejected and then like, okay, move on to the next guy. I've been off the dating apps now for a little bit. There's no one really on here.
I can see where constant cyclical rejection would drive you into the arms of your textbook cornfield extraterrestrial.
It's just very unsettling because I'm like, it could have just been a really, really weird situation.
Looking at the local options, it's not hard to understand why Claire took a chance. In her small town, the guys she meets are usually
kind of like a frat dude that I want nothing to do with, or an alcoholic, or like conservative or something like that, where it just like doesn't really align with my values. So it's just like, there's very like slim pickings for guys to date here. And then there's like not really a lot to do. I find myself when I hang out with guys for the first time, I don't even want to like go out in public with them because I'm like, oh my God, it's a smaller town. Like, what if I see people I know and they're like, oh my God, are you on a date? And there's like not much to do other than like go get beers. So small dating pool, small dating activity options.
So she wonders, what could have been with her alien?
I could have been queen of space. I don't know. The power he holds.
This is the first time I've ever heard a story like this at all. Is that the first warning that you are an alien if you don't have Uber at this point? Maybe he just wanted her to like go off to work and then he would teleport an hour back to where he's from. That would be quite a move.
She completely forgot about the whole experience. It was like the Men in Black pen.
Like the beam of light right over her eyes.
I wish that was real. There are some nights that I would like to forget, but that is what she experienced.
So they have a night of what she describes as one of the strangest sexual experiences of her life.
Mechanical, like premeditated
Positioning.
Could you imagine having sex with someone who's like, I stroke your hair now. I kiss your earlobe. I'd be like, get the fuck off me. You put on your clothes and you now walk out the door. And she didn't even think twice about it. Like so much so that it took her an entire year. She was randomly on Snapchat. She sees his name and it all comes flooding back. Cue the Celine Dion. It's all coming back to her. Slowly but surely. Like a flood of information in her brain. She never thought about those events.
When she sees the post that she goes on his Snapchat and literally asks him, are you an alien?
She realizes that there's a UFO sighting that night that they met and comes to a very quick conclusion. All of these scenarios, when added together, equal alien.
That was another great part of the story, is that she concludes that she's had sex with an alien and then consults an expert to confirm whether her conclusion is rational. And what validation does she get? She said, yes, very rational. NASA approved. In fact, we'll be over to collect all your computers and hard drives and phones and all that.
I know this is so crazy. I know you guys don't want me to say, I kind of buy it.
Come on. Buy what?
Like, crazier things have happened.
And crazier people exist. Honestly, the biggest red flag to me is getting there in the 20 minutes. That's like the only, like, is it possible? Yes, but it's a little unexplainable if he really was an hour away.
Never underestimate a guy that really needs to get laid. There wasn't really many steps to the acceptance and reconciliation process for her. It's like, oh yeah, I fucked an alien. And if he is an alien, he's not really representing the species well.
No romance, no spontaneity in the bed.
No game. She's just so confident in what happened to her. I know it's I know that it's ludicrous. I know that it's insane. I know that there's no way. But like,
it was her experience. I think she is a great storyteller. I don't buy it. I mean, I don't think she had sex with an alien. I think this was a really weird dude. I think it was a one-night stand. I think there might have been some hangover guilt the next morning, and she blocked it out of her mind and went about her business. And then boom, the guy popped in and it was like, oh fuck, I forgot about that really weird fucking night. What the hell? Wait, let me remember. He got here in 20 minutes. I put him in an Uber. He walked into a cornfield. I saw a UFO and now I can't find him online. Alien. I could rally behind that story, but she didn't have sex with an alien. But I will be the supportive friend on the sideline saying, girl, you had sex with an alien. That's fucked up.
She did say all of her friends were like, if anyone's going to have like sex with an alien, it's you, Claire. And I probably feel like people would say that about me.
We love sharing all your dating stories and talking about relationships in 2021. We have more new episodes on the way, but in the meantime, be sure to check us out on Instagram at Dating Diaries QC for more dating content.
And tell your friends about the podcast. If you enjoy it, rate and review with 5 stars. Until next week, stay safe out there, guys. This podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Andrea Gunning. Executive produced by Nancy Glass, Ben Fetterman, and Carrie Hartman. Produced by Julie Clark. Associate producers include Megan Paisley and Kristen Malcurie. Edited by Mac Daggett and Matt Delvecchio. Special thanks to Natalie Thomas. Music by My Music.
some names have been changed to protect privacy.